I want to give a thumbs up to WWE right now for making my hometown so awesome for Raw tonight for the go home show of Battleground. Thank you for making another show awesome for my hometown of Atlanta. I don't think I've ever been more proud to be from Atlanta as I am right now. Like, by far, I really am. They did my hometown right. They really did. And honestly, I'm floored about this show tonight. Starting off with Brock Lesnar, and pretty much Brock Lesnar is a guy that don't even have to say anything, let alone have to have a mic in his hand for more than 5 minutes for a promo. You got Paul Heyman there, pretty much spitting out as much as he can, practically lifting up Brock Lesnar without even trying. And Brock Lesnar can say 5 words, and it can literally just make the entire crowd melt. Brock had a huge pop for the opener tonight. And honestly, everyone loves Brock Lesnar. I love Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar oozes confidence without even having to say a word. That is a character that I truly admire. I really do. And yes, Seth Rollins brought out the biggest botch of the night. That was, but you gotta say this: the guy's a professional. He ended up he backed it up a bit, but he put it to his advantage. He really did. Even though it kind of sort of like, you don't want to necessarily botch the beginning of the show, because that kind of, I don't know, that downgrades you a bit. But I will say that he was professional to go back on it, as well as, how he was able to spin it to where he didn't make his character look completely weak. But it did kind of downgrade his character a bit, but not enough to completely staunch him out. So I will say this: he did a good job, very professional, and bringing himself back after messing up, and it was great. That whole segment itself was pretty good to see. And yeah, you had Kane come out, and Kane, his usual Kane thing. But I'm going to be honest with you, there were a lot of botches tonight. I really don't know what was going on, maybe because everybody was tired, and I guess that after coming back from Japan, you're going to be a bit jet lagged. So honestly, you're going to be off your game a bit. Before, I'm like, dang, what's up with everybody botching tonight? But they came straight up. Most of the people who are back now came right back from Japan. And Brock Lesnar was smart enough to only say 5 words. But Seth Rollins, I don't think Seth Rollins was there. But I still understand. Maybe he was on tour somewhere else. I don't know. But all I know is that there's been botch after botch after botch, pretty much by most of the characters tonight. But I'm not going to say that they're horrible or whatever. I'm just going to say maybe it's because they were on tour in other places, and they're probably exhausted. And when you're exhausted, you're not on your A game. So I'm just going to let that slide and just move on with the rest of the entire show. The matches themselves weren't all that bad. The tag team match to see the Primetime Players up against the New Day. And honestly, seeing how Xavier Woods is from Atlanta, something I had no idea that he was. I thought he was from somewhere else. But regardless of that, it was nice to see the New Day stamped out. Especially that every single wrestling town, or every single show that I've seen in another town that actually has the Primetime Players on the air, and every time they do that, millions of dollars, they always are off. Like, the entire crowd is off by at least 4 or 5 beats, and they just look awkward. But leave it to the people from my hometown, the crowd from my hometown, Atlanta, to be on beat when it comes to the millions of dollars. I know, y'all, I got Atlanta pride right now. And because it was such a great show. It really was a good go-home show to a bad pay-per-view last year. So yes, I'm a bit prideful right now. I'm not going to deny that. But seeing how the entire crowd of Atlanta was literally on point, even the people you thought would be rhythmless weren't. Yeah, honestly, yeah. I give a thumbs up to the crowd. The crowd, I mean, Atlanta is a wrestling town. It's a wrestling city. We actually fought to get WrestleMania 27. One of the worst pay-per-views in the minds of a lot of people. One of the best streak matches I've ever witnessed. Honestly, guys, that's a wrestling town. And when WWE comes to town, no lie, we're going to have a ball. But it was honestly great. And even the Fireflies, y'all. The Fireflies, when Bray Wyatt came out, the entire arena lit up. I love that. I really did I loved every bit of it. And yeah, here's the biggest gripe that I've had of that moment. Everybody marked out when they saw Dean Ambrose. But the messed up part about it is that Dean Ambrose wasn't even involved in a match. It pretty much lit up the feud between Roman Reigns and Bray Wyatt, which is going to happen at Battleground. But honestly, I would not have had Roman Reigns touch him so early, as well as so long. Like, he literally was beating the ever-loving crap out of Bray Wyatt, and Dean Ambrose was not used. You have a lot of Dean Ambrose lovers in that arena. You want to at least be able to have a decent match. Even though it was rehashing the old feud. Doesn't matter. You want to see Dean Ambrose perform because this is actually a wrestling show that you love that's coming to your town. You want to see somebody that you've always wanted to see perform. Even if it is the same old feud. I'm just speaking from somebody who has been to a Raw in Atlanta and wants to actually see your favorite performer perform. But you didn't really see Dean Ambrose do anything that night. And that's the one thing that kind of messed it up for me. But either or, it had to heat up the feud between Roman Reigns and Bray Wyatt, even though I think they shouldn't have touched at all, or at least touched very little. But they ended up, of course, touching too long, and that's just my personal opinion of it. I don't think it should have happened. But either or, this leads to the main event of the night, in my humble opinion. Because honestly, I never expected this to happen. Like, seriously, I know everybody pretty much had an idea that Sasha Banks as well as Charlotte was going to make their debut. But I didn't expect Becky Lynch. Like, seriously, the Divas segment started off bland. Like, I'm going to be honest. Nikki tries, but she's incredibly stiff on the mic. I don't know what happened. When it came to her trying to be a heel, when she was a heel against her sister, the entire feud itself was awkward, but either or, Nikki literally knew how to be a heel on the mic. She was actually pretty darn good, and as you can see, it's actually storming here, so if my power goes out, mostly it's just because of, well, the storm that's going on behind me right now. But I'm going to try to continue this as much as I can, but moving on from there. When it came to the Divas match, the Divas segment, I expected it to fall flat, especially with the Bellas being in the ring. Because Nikki was incredibly stiff tonight. I don't know what's going on with her. I really don't. Probably because of the fact that she's going to be leaving and leaving for good, as well as for Brie. And it's maybe setting in with her. I don't know. And seeing Alicia Fox up there, part of the Bella Army, really made me sad too, because Alicia Fox is not able to stand on her own. I don't know why. She tried when she was a Divas champion, but her being a Divas champion was way too early. It didn't really set her very well to make you convinced that she is a true Divas champion. But honestly, she's not able to set on her own at all. And that really what makes me kind of sad to see Alicia Fox up there with the Bella Army. Two of the biggest players in the game right now. But the one thing I never expected was to see Stephanie. It's always great to see Stephanie. And if Stephanie gets on your nerves that bad, that means she's a great heel. And everybody on Twitter was complaining how, why is a big heel playing a face role? Who freaking cares? She's a businesswoman. That's the one thing I love about Stephanie McMahon. She knows how to turn it up as being a heel when it comes to being a part of the Authority, but then she also cuts that off and becomes an actual businesswoman. She was thinking about the Divas division, and the Divas division was struggling. Even though the Bella Twins were hot, and even though they had a lot of fans, it was still struggling. It needed a bit of a kick in the butt. And they literally did that with having 3 of the most awesome NXT divas to be a part of the main roster. And a lot of people had that fear, including myself at one time, that they were going to be squashed, that their character was going to be completely changed, because look what happened to Paige. But you got to understand this. When Paige came here, well, not here, but when Paige came to the main roster, NXT was more of a developmental. It's not an independent. It's now an independent brand. that they're bringing people from the indie circuit and from and also and from bringing people from the indie circuit actually in the NXT itself, and it's become its own independent circuit. It's huge now. If they actually do change the characters for NXT, they're going to literally kick themselves in the butt. And I don't think that's what they want to do. These are three hottest divas in the NXT roster. Seriously, it is by far. You got the boss, Sasha Banks, one of the best feuds as well as the best matches I have seen her be in when NXT Unstoppable, versus Becky Lynch, which is literally, she is a firecracker. Like, but she can take a chick down. I love Becky Lynch. And I implore you to go back and watch that match between Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks. One of the best. Charlotte. Oh, Charlotte made me fall in love with the whole freaking brand because of her match with Natalya at NXT TakeOver. By far one of the best. Like, seriously, I loved every bit of it. I really did. And you have Charlotte on the main roster now, man. And then you actually have Team Paige versus Team Bella versus Team Boss. I'm loving this, guys. I really am. I'm hoping at Battleground they make a team battle match. I really do. They really need to make a team battle match with Team Boss versus Team Paige versus Team Bella. I would be so happy to see that, like, by far. And I literally marked out. Seriously, I don't mark out, but I marked out at that moment. It was awesome. And then, yeah, you had Naomi come out there and gripe and moan and complain and all that other stuff. But let's be honest, Naomi got squashed. Well, I mean, she didn't get squashed in the match, but her entire feud, her entire push somehow just stopped. I don't know why. I don't know what's going on, but it just stopped. And she was a great heel, but the only problem is she sucks on the mic still. She actually did have some emotion going in there and a legitimate gripe of why she was mad. And you could tell in her voice when she spoke. But now she's just so stiff, like she's trying to remember her lines. I don't know what's going on. I really don't. But honestly, guys, this whole team battle that's going to happen at Battleground makes me so happy. It really, really does. I have never been happier. And I'm really looking forward to Battleground now. But the one thing I can say after that awesome segment, that you really are just completely done with the entire show afterwards. Like, you're still riding high from that segment. The show itself wasn't all that bad, especially seeing King's Truth versus King Barrett. I didn't care much about that because I knew what the outcome would be. And honestly, I want to see more. I want to see more from R-Truth than him being a comic relief, because he's a black version of Santino Marella. I'm sorry, he is. We don't really see Santino that often anymore, but honestly, he's becoming the black version of Santino Marella. I'm just going to go out there and say that. And that's what breaks my heart. The guy has the potential to be a great heel. He really does. And not to mention be very aggressive in the ring. But now he's, in my opinion, considered to be a joke. And I think he's a lot more than that. But I don't know if I'm going to ever see him be in that serious direction. And what makes me even sadder is to see King Barrett suffer from the King's curse. They really shouldn't have King of the Ring anymore, because ever since, I've said this many times, ever since Booker T became King of the Ring, every guy who was King of the Ring went down. Their career just stayed stagnant. It didn't grow, it didn't go down, it just stayed. And that's not really a good thing, especially if you're a vet and you haven't really gotten the WWE Championship yet. Barrett has always been in position to grab that brass ring, but something happens to where it would literally bring him down to mid-level. And that's the one thing that makes me sad about him. The guy is an awesome heel, great potential, but it's being staunched. And it's being squandered and thrown away, and I don't know why. I really don't. As well as R-Truth's potential to be a great heel, as well as him becoming a very aggressive competitor. I really don't know what's going on, but it does make me sad to see that. Yeah, thunder outside, big storm. But other than that, guys, man, I didn't really care much about the tag team, like the tag team match they had at the middle of the card. I really didn't care much about Orton or I call Random Randy, because honestly, Random Randy is in every random match, every random feud, every random pay-per-view there is. And there's not even an inch of movement when it comes to him. I'm not talking about him being a performer. The one thing I can say about Randy is Randy always turns it up depending on who he's fighting against. That's a given. He's always going to give it 100% because he's a part-timer now. But he's in so many random feuds. He's either in a random feud, a random match, or he's in a random pay-per-view. He's just random now. He might as well just think about retirement early. Like, that's just me. That's my personal opinion. But that all leads up to the main event, and that was the actual signing. Now, storm, people. But either or, that all leads up to the main signing. Now, we see a really aggressive Seth Rollins pretty much coming out after Kane got attacked. I fell asleep on this part, but either or, I woke up to see pretty much Seth Rollins being the most aggressive I have ever seen him in a long time. And even though he bossed up in the beginning, he brought it back at the very end like a boss. So here's my biggest concern about this. My concern is that they're going to book Seth Rollins to be very dominant, or at least try to be dominant over Brock Lesnar. Now, Brock Lesnar practically manhandled John Cena. We all remember this. John Cena got manhandled by Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam. No offense, no defense, just got buried. Then we see Roman Reigns going up against him at WrestleMania 31 with barely any offense and a little bit of defense, actually no offense and very little defense. So little itty bitty Seth Rollins, if he comes out with a win, I don't think it's going to go well with the fans, because I don't believe that Seth Rollins even has it in him to beat him. Maybe beat somebody a little bit bigger than him, like a Dean Ambrose, but not anybody like Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar's a freaking beast. I'm sorry, you cannot book him to look bad. You cannot book him to lose. You can't. Unless the guy is around the same size, same build, same strength, same everything. Pretty much you have to be equal with Brock to at least make it believable. And I hate it when the WWE does these David versus Goliath matches. It drives me nuts. It really does drive me insane to see David versus Goliath matches that are one-sided. And I know that those are always the matches that you know that people look at and want to root for the little guy. But let's be honest, Seth Rollins really hasn't done much with that belt since he's had it. And I know a lot of people are like, well, he's a great heel champion. I'm gonna be honest with you, he's not that great anymore. He just isn't. So I really hope that Brock actually takes the belt, and I hope that the match is believable in Battleground. But guys, my overall thoughts is this. This was a pretty good go-home show. And I've never been more hopeful for the Divas division after seeing that segment tonight. I really, really, truthfully have never been that hopeful until seeing... Well, I have been hopeful about it, but it made me even more hopeful after seeing that segment. And then you had a great opener, even though that Seth Rollins had a botch. He fixed it like a boss. And then moving on down the line, you had like a lot of matches that were pretty fun to watch. Even though I didn't really care much for them because they actually had the outcome I expected. But it all led up to the signing, which actually made Seth Rollins look pretty aggressive. But will he win at Battleground? We'll see this Sunday. But guys, I want to hear your thoughts. Leave a comment in the comment section below. Or if you still do it, send a video response. But I'm going to cut it off now because it is storming outside. So I will see you guys on Sunday. And I actually do have a topical video that might be coming up soon. So stay tuned to that. It's Nature Girl 30 signing off. Peace out, guys. Later.